Happy New Year and welcome to our new podcast. And what we're going to talk about today is really the future of EPM this year and in the following years, and really particularly look at OneStream trends, challenges, tools, tips, and things like that. We have a very renowned expert who's really kind of mastered both solutions, but also I've worked with him, and one of the foremost OneStream consultants I've ever worked with, really great at what he does, used extensively globally, and also done lots of projects, including rescue projects, and also in FCCS. He's been in the Oracle domain for many years, so he's a great expert to talk to. Ruben, could you please introduce yourself, mainly in terms of what you've done in OneStream and FCCS?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot, Tim, for the introduction, and yeah, happy New Year to everybody as well. And happy to be here with you again and discuss this very interesting topics, of course. So yeah, I mean, on my side, my name is Ruben, and I've been working on the EPM CPM area for about more than 12 years. Like a lot of us coming from Oracle background, heavily work with Hyperion suite of products, right? With HFM, Hyperion Planning, S-Base, and so on, and then gradually move into the new set of technologies. So for the last few years, I've been doing bits and pieces in different tools. I have experience with Anaplan, I have experience with FCCS, also with PVCS as well. And of course, I think very heavily over the last 2 to 3 years, I've been working with OneStream in consolidation, planning projects, and of course, all the different marketplace add-ons that you can install. So it's really good to see like the different ways of functionalities that each tool can offer. But of course, I think I have like any tool has pros and cons. It really depends on what the client needs and what can actually fit better for the client, right? So I'm trying to bring a neutral and agnostic vision to this podcast, of course. Even though I might have some preferences, I will keep them for myself. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ruben. So for the first question, what are the most significant emerging trends in EPM for 2024, and how are they expected to impact businesses?
Okay, so I mean, I think the trends that we saw in 2023 are actually rolling forward to 2024. I mean, I think there are a couple of things that everybody's aware of, right? The first thing being the ESG requirements, right? I think there is more and more importance being given to the ESG strategies and the implications that will have in the application design, because that obviously involves the creation of additional reports, additional requirements in terms of disclosures, new calculations, new metrics, new models, right? So I think that's going to be more and more important in 2024. I think even like some countries like the UK, I'm actually required to report on certain climate-related disclosures, right? And even like I'm actually quite close to the Asian market. Some countries like Malaysia have actually mandated publicly listed companies to file this type of reports, right? So I think it's going to be more and more important. I think in the US as well, the Securities and Exchange Commission is actually proposing some disclosures requirements for the company. So I think it's going to be more and more important. And so it's important that the companies prepare for that, because it can be quite complicated in terms of like introducing new metrics, introducing new calculations, new logic. So you will need a software that is either prepared to do that, is either very flexible for you to create this from scratch, or it's gonna or it comes already with some type of a pre-built solution, which includes reports, dashboards, and metrics that will facilitate the report the fulfillment of those requirements, right? So I think that's something that is gonna be of a key importance in the coming year, and we're gonna see more and more tools kind of developing this kind of pre-built models to facilitate the creation of the completion of those requirements.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, and of course, obviously the second point that I wanted to mention is the introduction of artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? I think everybody's aware of that. Everybody's talking about this nowadays, and I'm kind of very, let's say, I'm expecting to see these changes in the new year. I'm also hopeful to see how these changes will impact the applications, because it's gonna change the way we see, at least on the implementation side, right? It's gonna change the way we see an implementation, because if done correctly, artificial intelligence or machine learning will really replace a lot of the tasks that we currently do manually, right? I'm talking about even like all the business rules creation, modeling creation, things like that are going to be gradually replaced by artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I'm kind of curious to see how this, the impact that has not only on the project but also on the people working in the project, right? So that's something that we're going to see more and more in 2024. I hope.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you so much, Ruben, for that. So, can you highlight any innovative tools or technologies in EPM that are gaining traction, possibly in 2024?
Okay, so I'm gonna refer back to the Gartner report that I just saw recently, and obviously, I think if you look at that report, I think the leaders are still kind of the ones that we expect. I think on the financial close side, we still have obviously we have Oracle and OneStream, and as well as Tagetik. On the financial planning side is a little bit more surprising, because we have also Anaplan as being one of the leaders, but we have tools like even Jedox or tools like Planful or Pigment that are actually gaining a lot of track in 2024. So I think it's a situation right now where there's numerous tools that are actually coming with new features, new capabilities that are actually challenging the traditional players, right? Like the Oracles, the SAP, and so on, right? So I think in terms of like new tools or new trends that we can see in 2024, I obviously, just putting apart Oracle and OneStream and Anaplan for a second, I'm just going to talk about a couple of them that might actually gain some track in 2024 as kind of a let's say hidden. I think I've been actually doing some research, and I saw that Jedox is actually investing a lot in data integration, like creating like pre-built integrators to kind of connect to multiple source systems. So that's actually kind of interesting to see how that evolves in the next year, because obviously data integration is a very key point in any kind of implementation, right? And obviously there's still a lot of manual work to be done around that, and apparently Jedox is coming with some integrator tools that are actually quite interesting. It's also creating, investing heavily in artificial intelligence in terms of planning and modeling, and obviously is on the ESG side. What I read is actually creating some accelerators, right, which actually come with pre-built models to help you with data collection, workflows, reporting, and dashboards, right? So it's interesting to see. Obviously, if we talk about Oracle and OneStream, they also have their own like pre-built or marketplace solutions to provide this kind of ESG requirements. Yeah. But obviously, we're trying to also kind of unfold like tools that might not have all the market share that we see in other tools, but it's worth to actually understand what other competitors are doing as well in the market, right? Sure. So that's one thing that I see, like new technologies that could gain some track in 2024. Something that I also want to highlight that is quite interesting has been the merge, at least in terms of like skills or capabilities merge between Fluence Technologies and Pigment. Yeah, that happened, I believe, last year, and it's interesting because I was following Fluence Technologies because I think they are quite powerful in the consolidation side, at least for small and medium enterprises for now. But I think they're quite dynamic, quite flexible, and I was quite surprised with a few demos that I saw. And obviously, the merge or the kind of the connection with Pigment is going to provide that kind of that planning and budgeting side that Fluence wasn't doing, right? Because Fluence was pretty much focused on consolidation. Yes. So Pigment is coming with all these powerful planning and budgeting and modeling capabilities and reporting capabilities. So I'm interested to see what's coming out of that union, right? Yes. Between Fluence and Pigment. So let's see what happens next year, because obviously they can actually merge in terms of like efforts, but then still, like, I don't know what's going to happen is going to be like a unified platform when it comes to implementing. So something to expecting to see in 2024.
Cool. So what are the key challenges organizations might face in implementing these new EPM trends, and how can they overcome them?
I think I'm going to focus on, the artificial intelligence, I think is a wave that we cannot stop. So we are just we're going to see how that impacts in the different tools. But I think all the different platforms are going to be releasing more and more AI machine learning features, and we're just going to be kind of digesting them gradually, right? So I think it's going to take a little bit longer on that side. On the ESG side, which is the other trend that I mentioned in the first question, the ESG side is something that is happening now, right? And a solution needs to be provided now, and I think it can be quite complex because like supply chain, human resources, IT, ERP.
Yes.
All those systems generate ESG data, right? And at different levels of granularity, and you need to collect all that data, right? Like you can have environmental data that includes like carbon emissions or energy usage, social metrics, even like that, gender, minority representation, things like that. All of that is actually data that needs to be collected at different levels of granularity. It needs to be reported on. It needs to be actually, it needs to follow some requirements as well. So it's not really easy. It's a complex situation here for the companies, and they need to use either a new tool or the tool that they are actually using at the moment. They need to kind of shape it to be able to provide this type of requirements, right? So what I was reading a very interesting report coming from actually provided by Oracle, and they were talking about the 3 questions that you need to ask or like whoever is like the decision makers need to ask themselves when it comes to ESG reporting or initiatives. And those questions were like kind of three bullet points, right? The first bullet point being you need to ensure integrity of your data, right? You need to make sure that the data that you're providing or you're collecting is accurate, right? You also need that data needs to actually be compliant with the standards, right? Because the standards are especially with ESG are actually evolving quite quickly. Like they might change standards this year compared to next year, right? So it's really important that this data is still compliant with the standards. And then you need to be able to actually track and communicate accordingly, like regarding the future commitments, right? You need to make sure that you are actually tracking the current commitments regarding ESG reporting, but you also need to make sure that the future commitments are communicated accordingly, and you are able to plan and track for those, right? So it's just I think it's more complex than we might actually think, and I see those points being key points for any decision maker to take into consideration when it comes to these requirements, because these requirements are actually and this is like something that is repeated over and over, right? I think the idea of integrated tool, right? I mean, in OneStream is one workspace, right? You have your account recs, your consolidation, your financial planning solution within the same workspace. You don't have to switch between different windows or workspaces or log in into different areas, right? It's just one solution, and it provides also a positive reaction for the user, right? Even visually, right? Like coming down to the basics, like the user doesn't have to do anything. It needs to move into different dashboards or different sections of the tool, but within the same workspace, right? So nothing changes. On FCCS, I know, I understand it's part of the Oracle suite of products, right? Which includes financial planning and account recs and so on, but it's still different sections of that, different workspaces, right? You need to move from one to another. Even like with data management, which is FDME, you need to move into a different window, right? So it's actually different workspaces within the same suite of products, but it's still not fully integrated like OneStream is, right? So I think that's one thing that still remains at the core of the difference between the two tools, right? Because obviously that has implications as well. Even though like maybe FCCS and Oracle and EPBCS will be part of the Oracle suite of products, there is still some data integration that needs to happen between the two applications, right? So because they actually reside in different workspaces. So those even though they are integrated in the same suite, there are still kind of different applications, right? So that's still the core difference, and it has been the difference since the get-go, right? So it still remains, and still I think it still will be the case in 2024. I mean, obviously, there are other small differences in terms of architecture or IT infrastructure. I think OneStream still allows you to do on-prem versus cloud. You can actually do the installation on premises, and you can do cloud. Even though OneStream is pushing more for the cloud, you can still do on-prem, regarding of depending on your IT structure. And obviously, Oracle is if you are using FCCS, obviously. That's the cloud version, right? So you need to go on the cloud, right? So those, let's say, are the main key difference. Obviously, we could dig into specific differences maybe in the following questions, but these are the key differences in terms of like product overview, right?
Thank you so much. So could you delve into some specific features where OneStream excels and also falls short compared to FCCS from your experience?
Yeah. I mean, I think FCCS, because I think it was initially designed for like small to mid-sized companies. And basically, it does a very good job standardizing and streamlining consolidation processes, right? And even like industry's best practices using pre-built models, right? So I think if you are a small and medium enterprise, it might actually be your software of choice, right? Because it has those pre-built models are actually, with some configurations, can actually work quite well in terms of consolidation, cash flow, reporting, and so on. So obviously, OneStream has some marketplace solutions, but I don't think it has the pre-built models or pre-built calculations that FCCS is providing, only because I think the nature of FCCS was actually for kind of small and mid-sized companies, right? I think when it comes to large companies with different ownerships, different holding structures and stuff, I think it lacks a little bit short, right, when it comes to FCCS compared to OneStream. But again, it depends on the size of your company and the client and the company requirements. But I think that's something that FCCS is doing well. In terms of like creating this kind of pre-built architecture, right, for the user and for the client. In terms of like maybe we were talking about data integration before, I think OneStream is more powerful than FCCS. I think the data manipulation that you could do within OneStream import stage is really extensive. FCCS includes like let's say a scaled down version of FDME, which is called data management, but it's still quite limited in terms of like custom scripting. And it comes down again to what we were talking before, right? Like OneStream being mostly like a white canvas where you can just kind of custom script everything that you want, right? So I think in terms of like data integration, OneStream has more capabilities in terms of like scripting or custom scripting when it comes to integrating to source systems and pulling the data from source systems, right? Also, the way that in OneStream you can actually pull the data from source systems and move the data into a stage table and then create reports and dashboards out of stage data, which I don't think is very, very easy to do when it comes to FCCS. So yeah, that's one difference that I can think of in terms of data integration, which is a hot topic, and we were just mentioning earlier, right? I think in terms of reporting, I think OneStream is still investing on that side because it was a little bit outdated. What I saw in prior versions, I think is getting to a better point and more adding additional visual features to and dashboards in the new releases. But it's also putting an effort in kind of partnering with or creating like pre-built adapters with some
Sure.
Powerful reporting tools like Power BI, right? It's something that OneStream is working towards, right? And that's something that I can see quite interesting, right? So I think like those could be, obviously on a very high level, some of the differences that I can see when it comes to OneStream and FCCS. But yeah, again. What I wanted to highlight again is like the integration. It's also is also important because it's using a central data repository, right? And it's using extensible metadata to kind of, adapt your metadata to your consolidation and your financial planning application, right? So it's actually using a central repository for data and metadata you can extend accordingly. So that's something that at the moment you cannot do with FCCS, right? You effectively will have different metadata for different applications, right? So yeah, I think overall that's what I can see. Obviously, we could spend like hours here.
Definitely. Yeah. So you're dealing with lots of customers in both domains. How are customers responding to the differences between OneStream and FCCS? Any notable preferences or trends?
I think, it's a good question. And it comes down to the whole discussion about companies moving from Oracle Hyperion, right? I think that's still the case, right? The Oracle Hyperion new version, kind of scaled down, and it was out of almost the end of the life cycle for that version, and most of the companies who were using Oracle Hyperion were in this situation to kind of, okay, what are we doing next, right? So we were looking at different tools, and obviously FCCS was the natural choice because it's still an Oracle product. But then they started looking at OneStream as well, because OneStream still remains a tool that really resembles a lot to what HFM was, obviously with a lot of more functionality. But to be honest, for me, like OneStream is actually closer to to HFM that FCCS is, right? So obviously, I think OneStream started to gain track in Americas, of course, and Europe, but it's getting more and more track in Asia as well. I do projects in Asia as well, and it's interesting because Asia was mostly like a lot of clients still using Oracle, and they actually decided to at least put on the table the OneStream possibility, right? And to decide whether the right choice was to move to OneStream or to move to FCCS, right? Because they see a lot of flexibility in OneStream. They see some restrictions on the FCCS side. Some of them will have decided to continue with Oracle, with Hyperion HFM just to do the upgrade. So it's quite interesting to see what these companies have. There is different situations, but it's interesting to see how OneStream is actually being put on the table for discussion, right? For clients who were actually historically using Oracle products, right? So that's something that I have seen more and more, and I'm seeing it now in Asia, but of course it's coming from a trend that it started in Americas and Europe. One thing that I also want to note is that OneStream is also it's a very sophisticated tool, but it's very complex to implement right.
Yeah,
and it requires like a very good knowledge of the tool, programming, accounting, and so on. So I have seen, you were talking before about situations where there is an implementation that is not 100% successful, and that happens with any tool, right? And I've seen it with FCCS and OneStream. I had the opportunity to see it maybe on OneStream a couple of times last year. Implementations that were not 100% successful because it's also being sophisticated and complex. Being sophisticated also involves that you're a complex tool, right? So I have seen implementations that were not 100% successful because of the complexity of the tool, right? So that's something that also other clients or other companies are taking into consideration when it comes to implementing OneStream, right? Because I think even like in the implementation times, FCCS has a shorter implementation time compared to OneStream, also because FCCS comes with pre-built models, right? So that's something that companies also are taking into implementing one or the other, right? Not only the short-term risk, but the long-term, right? Once the tool is implemented, what are we going to do with it? How is the tool going to evolve, right? So it's really interesting, right? And I think this is gonna continue next year as well, right?
Fantastic. So looking forwards, what do you foresee the evolution of tools like OneStream and FCCS in the EPM landscape?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down again to the same topics. I think I see a lot of investment in artificial intelligence and machine learning so artificial intelligence is going to be replacing gradually all the programming and coding that we do. Machine learning is going to create pre-built models for financial planning and budgeting, predictive analysis, and so on, right? So I see more and more the creation of pre-built solutions or add-ons that actually are solving specific problems, and clients are just or implementation partners are just going to use these models to kind of start off an implementation. OneStream, I think, is investing a lot not only in providing pre-built add-ons, but actually in providing almost like a pre-built application that you can customize, right? So I think, and the introduction of artificial intelligence and machine learning within these pre-built applications, I think is going to be even more beneficial for the companies, right? So I see more and more a trend of introduction these pre-built models, pre-built applications, and with the kind of shaping those with the introduction as well of artificial intelligence or machine learning. So that's what I see, right? It's going to be more or less, I think, manual work and customizing work from the implementation partner, but mostly I think the trend or the key part is going to be the understanding of the requirements and how we can actually use these pre-built models and applications to kind of fit those requirements, right? So it's going to be like less and less of that manual and customizing work that we currently do, at least with the specific tools, right? Obviously, I think FCCS is a fully cloud application, but OneStream is still kind of on-prem or cloud. But I think in terms of OneStream is going to invest more and more in cloud. I saw in a new feature which they call, I believe, a smart connector, a smart integration connector, which basically is going to reduce the need for a VPM logging when it comes to logging into retrieving data from source system, right? You historically need a VPM connection to kind of connect to a source system to retrieve the data. So by introducing this smart integration connector, is going to eliminate the need for a VPN. So that's a few things that they are doing only for cloud specific releases, right? I don't think you will be able to do that for on-prem, right? And I think also OneStream is actually evolving in terms of like the programming language. I think they're actually upgrading to Net 6, which is going to provide many more functionalities in terms of coding, as well as benefits in terms of performance of the code, right? So I think the investment on cloud from the OneStream side, of course, because Oracle is already cloud, but also the other two topics that I mentioned, I think are going to be parts of the evolution of these two tools in the next few years to come.
Fantastic. So what advice would you give to businesses currently evaluating between OneStream and FCCS?
I will tell them to, obviously, I'm vendor neutral. I might have my preferences, but I love EPM, CPM. So I'm trying to bring a neutral view into this podcast, at least, right? And obviously, I think when it comes to evaluating between OneStream and FCCS, you need to look at the complexity of your business, right?
Yes.
Your IT landscape as well, or even like your long-term plan, right? So, it depends. Like maybe maybe you're using historically some other Oracle products, right? Maybe you're using, I don't know, Oracle Fusion ERP, right? So maybe it makes sense that you continue with Oracle products like FCCS, right? So that's one thing. Look at your IT structure, right? Even look at your IT requirements in terms of like, can you actually go cloud? Is actually something that is within the scope of the company, or you need to, due to numerous reasons or IT requirements, you actually need to have your servers on-prem, right? So that will actually give you an indication, because OneStream you can actually, and other tools you can do on-prem. FCCS will kind of force you, right, push you to go on the cloud, right? So you also need to understand any IT requirements or that you might have within your organization, right? Complexity of your business, right? How big your business is, how complex the structure of your business is, right? If it's small or mid-sized business, you can actually live with FCCS. If you're planning to do something more complex, or you have a complex structure, maybe it makes more sense to do OneStream, because OneStream is going to give you that flexibility that you need, right? long-term plan, right? What's your plan regarding the usage of this platform, right? Are you only going to use it for consolidation, or you want to do maybe planning and forecasting in the future, account recs and so on, right? And if that's your plan, what would you prefer? You will prefer to use one platform like OneStream, so you use consolidation, planning and so on within the same workspace, or you are okay using different applications within the same suite of products like Oracle is providing, right? So these are things that need to be taken into consideration when it comes to deciding on one tool or the other. Obviously, there is cost associated with each tool in terms of licenses and installation and implementation. I believe OneStream implementations might take a little bit longer than FCCS, so that's also has an impact on the implementation cost. Licenses, I'm not so sure at the moment, but it should be a similar cost being cloud licenses. So, but it's mostly about, like, I think organizations need to look at the long-term plan, need to look at the complexity of their businesses, and take the time to actually understand which each platform can offer. Because once you go one route or another, it's really hard to kind of go back. I've seen companies kind of, having one platform, and then 2 years down the line, they realize it's not actually providing the results or that they needed, and they want to change. And that change is costly, and not only in terms of financially, but it's costly in terms of timing and efforts from everybody that is part of that new implementation, right? So yeah, I will. The advice is that take your time to decide and get as much information as you need, and always look at your long-term plan when it comes to choosing one or the other.
Fantastic. So this question is going beyond OneStream and FCCS, but how do you think the advancements of EPM tools are influencing strategic decision making in organizations? Things like AI, ESG, all this stuff. What do you think? Do you think they are also looking at other tools, not just these two?
Yeah, so I think obviously, like, you're coming from a similar background when we were using, Hyperion, right? Hyperion financial management. Like, sometimes the tool or the platform was historically considered maybe just kind of a place where to put your data and create some reports, right? It wasn't really giving you, of course, it consolidates the data, it produces certain reports, but it was kind of limited in terms of like the usage, right? I think that the tools, the EPM and CPM tools, are evolving in a way that is actually they are moving away from being just kind of a reporting tool to be like the driver of decisions within an organization, right? Because obviously the introduction of artificial intelligence or machine learning are actually gonna provide insights into specific decisions, specific situations within the business, which are going to be very, very useful for the decision makers, right? To kind of define the business strategy, right? So I think the tools are actually gaining more and more importance. If we are able to actually introduce these new releases, these new features like AI or ML into EPM and CPM, I think the tools are going to be, or these platforms are going to be much more important than they were historically, right? Because they are going to be used for driving the business. So that's why I'm kind of expecting to see what unfolds in the next year and the next couple of years in terms of this introduction of these new technologies into the EPM. But I think it's going to really, if this happens the correct way, I think everybody like us working on the EPM and CPM are gonna be very, very busy. Because it's gonna be like, even though we may be less busy doing manual stuff that we do now, we're still gonna be busy kind of shaping the tool and to the needs of the client, and I think the tools and these platforms are gonna get more and more popular within in all the different regions in the world.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you for all that, Ruben. But as we wrap up, got a little bit of exciting development. I believe you're doing a website. Could you share your thoughts on how your websites can be a resource for those wanting to stay updated with EPM trends and tool comparisons?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks, Tim, for giving me this chance to give a little bit of information about this new web. So yeah, I'm still on work in progress. We'll be releasing some announcements soon about the completion of the web. And I think, and you know it much better than than me, right? We are a big community in the world, EPM, CPM community. We are all spread across different regions, and we all share a common desire, a common understanding of what we want to do, what kind of things we need. We are also, we all lack certain knowledge that we can feed from other people, right? And we all like to share. We all like to learn new things, right? So this web, what it's going to do is actually put everything together, right? It's going to create like a common workspace where you can actually download material from different like, you know, educational guides, training guides, I don't know, like design PDF documents and so on from any tool, right? It's completely vendor agnostic. So you can do that. You can actually attend webinars. I mean, you will be able to actually understand. If you use my web, you will know where Tim has a new podcast, so you can actually join that podcast and be completely up to date of all different events that are EPM CPM related. I'm not talking about just podcasts, but webinars, conferences, and so on. You will have the opportunity to join different group chats, like specific to your platform of choice, right? You might want to join a OneStream group chat, or a Oracle group chat, or a Pigment work chat, right? And in there you can actually be part, or kind of share your concerns or ask questions to other professionals that are specialized in that particular platform, right? So you will be able to do that. Obviously, you will be able as well to find jobs as well, but not like traditional jobs. You will be able to kind of find specific projects that are required for a specific time frame. So you will be able to filter down on specific projects that you may be interested on. Obviously, that's from the individual side, right? From the freelance side. But obviously, the company is going to be able as well to post these kind of opportunities, be able to actually fill out more quickly and efficiently specific needs when it comes to EPM and CPM. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of things that you will be able to do. There is a new releases. There is advisory services for companies who might not want which platform to use. They just might need some advice. They can get advice from independent advisors that will be collaborating with the web. As well as if you are a freelancer and you are stuck in some code or some question, you can actually ask, and ask. The web will have some specific service to ask questions, so you might actually get some response and to be able to continue with your work. So it's all these things that we are doing now in different. I mean, there is, as you know, I mean, there is different groups, and there is emails, there is WhatsApp, there is forums. Everything is kind of spread in different areas. Now it's going to be contained within one web. So yeah, quite excited. Let's as I said, we're gonna be announcing this soon. For now, it's still on the works. But yes, kind of excited to see to be able to finally have everybody in one place, right?
Fantastic, and there's something I'm very much passionate about. Definitely would like to see a demo of the website, and we'll share it with the community when it's done. So please let us know when it's done, and then let's show it down to everybody. Thank you so much, Ruben. And it'll be great. And let's do a few more podcasts in the future, really, on different aspects, on different, maybe compare other tools.
Really for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I wanted to thank you for what you're doing for the community as well. And yeah, like you're being very successful, you're growing in subscribers. I'm very glad for you, but especially because your core goal is to bring the community together, and that's very good for everybody. So thanks a lot for everything that you have done so far.
Fantastic. Have a great day, Ruben, and we'll talk to you very soon. Take care then.
Take care, team. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.